Hi, this is Brian Babinoy, Senior Analyst with Enterprise Strategy Group, a leading market research, analyst, and consulting firm. In my role, I am constantly surveying the market for practical information management software solutions. By practical, I mean software that actually solves an IT or business problem by tangibly reducing costs and improving operational efficiency. Of course, this means the solution must address a problem that continues to create undue burden and expense on a large set of organizations. That's right, there wouldn't be any practical information management solutions without recurring costly information management challenges. One such challenge that exists today and will be around for a while is upgrading an archive environment, especially an email archive environment. I know you're thinking to yourself that this really isn't a big deal and certainly not a mass market problem, but the reality is this is an enormous issue for many reasons. First, there are thousands of organizations using email archiving today. Some estimate over 50,000 and growing. Second, the email archive market is consolidating. Vendors are going out of business. Third, vendors are constantly adding new capabilities to their software. Fourth, there are several archive storage options in the market, some of which are inexpensive and much easier to manage than others. And lastly, an email archive environment contains a different profile of data than traditional IT applications. An email archive environment often contains business records, electronic evidence, and other critical documents that must be retained and pristinely preserved for extended periods of time. In most cases, an email archive outlasts the useful life and maintenance of a storage system requiring the data to be moved. When you combine all of these factors, it's easy to see that there will be a significant amount of email archive upgrades over the years to come, and those projects will not be trivial. A practical solution will make the decision to complete an email archive upgrade very easy and then automate and optimize the actual migration. Today we will discuss how Symantec facilitates the upgrade decision with its 8.0 version of Enterprise Vault, the company's flagship archive solution. In addition, we will talk about how TransVault software can execute a seamless email archive migration and how the company makes it very easy for customers to move to the latest version of Symantec's Enterprise Vault. As an email archive customer, you may ask yourself, why will I need to go through an upgrade process? Although not obvious, there are four major catalysts that would cause an email archive upgrade. The first is your desire to move to a better email archive application. The current software that you're using may not scale to meet your archive performance and accessibility requirements. The vendor may be struggling financially and not improving the software to your liking, or there may simply be another solution in the marketplace that better serves your needs. Secondly, a business event such as a merger and acquisition may leave you with multiple email archive environments, and you want to consolidate them. You may choose to pick one of the existing environments as your target or go with an entirely new solution. The latter alternative would create the need for two email upgrade processes. Third, you may want to move to a new version of the same email archive application. It is difficult for many organizations to keep up with the most recent version of an application, and email archiving is no different. If you fall behind a few versions and want to jump to the latest software, it often requires a migration. And lastly, you may go through an email archive upgrade because you want to change the underlying storage infrastructure. In some cases, this is a voluntary decision as your current storage solution is too expensive, doesn't perform well, or is simply too difficult to manage. In some instances, it may be all of the above. In other instances, you may be forced to change storage devices because it is no longer under maintenance. With over 50% of organizations currently archiving email, stating that their average retention periods are between 4 and 10 years, and storage hardware warranties lasting 3 years, this scenario is something that you are likely to go through. Whether it's a business driver, obsolete technology, or the desire to use a better solution, there are several reasons why organizations may want or have to go through an email archive migration process. When it comes time for organizations to go through an email archive upgrade, IT staffs cringe because it's a cumbersome, manual process that gets more complex in large environments. Let's take a look at how a typical manual email archive process works. Customers must first select individual mailboxes to export to a personal archive, a PST in Exchange, or an NSF file for notes users. The personal archive folder must then be ingested into the new email archive environment. Sounds simple, right? The issue is the time it takes to create the target archive folder and for the new archive application to process, index, and store the messages. The more messages in a mailbox, the longer it's going to take, and IT does not have any means to split large mailboxes. The worst part is that IT must monitor the entire process, from selecting the mailbox through the storage in the new environment to make sure there aren't any issues. If there is an issue, IT must start the migration process for that set of mailboxes. When that set of mailboxes is complete, the process must be repeated for every mailbox that needs to be migrated. To solve some of the performance issues, IT departments often use a storage staging area where the personal archive files are queued while they wait for the target email archive application to store preceding messages. As a result, mailboxes are exported and simply wait for the new archive application to grab them from the storage staging area and keep them. Even though this expedites a portion of the process, IT must monitor where messages are in the upgrade process so they do not mistakenly miss anything if there is an interruption. If executing this operation wasn't enough, IT must also be aware of the business implications of completing an upgrade. We are all aware that email can be a business record and subject to government, industry, and even internal retention requirements. Additionally, ESG research suggests that 80% of electronic discovery events involve email and attachments. This content cannot be modified or deleted during the legal hold process, and sometimes that legal process can last for several years. In some instances, retention and legal hold requirements will span an upgrade process. It would be a shame for a company to maintain compliance and satisfy legal hold requirements and fail to satisfy these during the upgrade. Even documenting the entire upgrade process, including any failures and restarts, does not ensure chain of custody. For example, it takes just one corrupted item in the legacy archive to cause a mailbox extraction process to stop, with no possibilities for working out which email failed or for continuing the extraction beyond the corrupted item. Another thing that I want to point out is that organizations should strive to keep archive messages accessible during the upgrade. This is not trivial when mailboxes are being moved one at a time, and part of an archive resides in both the old and new infrastructure. Records managers, compliance officers, corporate counsel, and knowledge workers do not stop working with archive messages simply because an email archive migration is planned. When any organization realizes what it takes to complete a manual email archive upgrade, they may try to avoid the situation at all costs. In fact, in ESG's opinion, the only reason why a company would choose to undertake an email archive migration is if the new environment delivered significantly more benefits than the current one and the upgrade could be automated. Right now, one such situation exists with Symantec's Enterprise Vault 8.0, the company's latest information archive solution, and TransVault Software, a provider of archive migrations solutions. Let's first look at the reasons why non-Symantec customers and existing Symantec customers running older versions of Enterprise Vault would want to upgrade to version 8.0. First, Symantec's Enterprise Vault is an extremely popular solution that archives email, file systems, and SharePoint, as well as databases. With over 11,000 customers relying on the solution, Enterprise Vault continually delivers updates and enhancements that range from expanded electronic discovery capabilities to advanced archive storage reduction features. In an economy where customers are looking to work with reputable, stable vendors, Symantec is a pretty good choice. Secondly, 8.0 includes deduplication, which ensures only one copy of a file is stored within an archive. By removing duplicate data, Enterprise Vault 8.0 drastically reduces the archive storage footprint, which results in direct cost savings as companies do not have to purchase as much capacity to underpin the archive. In addition, with 8.0, archive messages can be cached locally, so they can be accessed even if an employee is not connected to the archive directly. Employees can also search and retrieve archive messages from certain PDAs. There are many other reasons why companies will want to move to Enterprise Vault 8.0, but getting the data into this environment is another concern. TransVault Software actually has that covered, as the company is integrated with Enterprise Vault to eliminate many of the manual tasks in the migration process. Before starting the migration, TransVault analyzes the existing archive environment to see how much store is being used, how many logical archive repositories exist, what is the average mailbox size, and how many messages and attachments are in the current environment. The analysis process also detects any stranded or corrupt messages in the archive. When it comes time to move the data, the integration between TransVault and Symantec pays dividends as TransVault connects directly to Enterprise Vault through an API. TransVault can process and move messages across multiple threads and can spread this workload across multiple servers to improve overall performance. Additionally, TransVault can split up large mailboxes, making it easier to move large sums of data in a short period of time. With the ability to improve performance, organizations do not need to introduce a storage staging step. This reduces any chance that messages and files will be dropped or lost during migration and minimizes the chance that information will be altered or modified during the upgrade process. TransVault also offers a level of flexibility during the migration, which allows organizations to select a subset of mailboxes based on department, Active Directory groupings, and other categories. This allows an organization to split up the upgrade process, which helps IT track which departments have been moved and which ones have not been moved. Organizations can also set a schedule as to when a group of mailboxes are to be migrated, so IT doesn't have to manually start each process. Another key capability is the monitoring and alerting through the TransVault software. For example, IT can be notified when a migration is complete or if there's an issue. This eliminates the need for IT to constantly watch the upgrade process. When a migration is complete, a customer can automatically run an option that converts shortcuts in a mailbox, so they point to the new location within Enterprise Vault, which ensures employees maintain access to the archived content. To address chain of custody issues and prove that messages were not altered during the upgrade, TransVault software generates a full audit trail for each item transferred. The audit trail includes correspondence between unique identifiers in source and target archives, proving that it is the same content that was moved. The audit trail also shows when the migration process started and finished. Of course, TransVault had to complete several integrations with non-Enterprise Vault email archive applications, as well as many archive storage systems. Organizations should check with TransVault to see if their current email archive application and storage system are supported. Before concluding, I just wanted to recap some of the discussion highlights. There are plenty of reasons why organizations will want to or have to perform an upgrade of their archive systems. One of those catalysts is the recent introduction of Symantec Enterprise Vault 8.0. However, customers no longer have to worry about manually executing the upgrade thanks to TransVault software's migration solutions. The benefits of moving to Enterprise Vault are very, very straightforward. And the upside of using TransVault to complete the upgrade includes mitigating legal and compliance risk, completing migrations faster, and the ability to maintain constant access to archived information during the upgrade process. From a practical perspective, you should no longer think of archive upgrades as tedious tasks that cannot be completed without a large IT staff or expensive consulting services. With more automated options to complete the migrations, you should also not feel entrapped by your current archive application or your archive storage system. This flexibility provides plenty of opportunities for you to save money and simplify your operations. I'm Brian Babineau, and thank you very much for joining us today.